On the delta of Golok River that divides Malaysia and Thailand, river ferry services connect the both sides of the river across international border. The width of the river is about 200 meters, which makes bridge construction possible technically and financially. There are bridges upstream at Rantau Panjang Sungai Golok Town and Bukit Bunga Ban Buketa, but the ferry remains as it is faster method to travel between Tumpat and Narathiwat. Why is the bridge not built at Golok River Delta between Pangkalan Kubu and Tak Bai? Let's take a ride on a Thai ferry and understand of the last river ferry in Peninsular Malaysia, how it is still in operation. Golok River is a river that divides Kelantan, Malaysia with province of Narathiwat, Thailand with a length of 100 kilometers. On Malaysian side is Pangkalan Kubo, where there is a duty-free complex that sells imported items mostly from Thailand. Tak Bai is located on the Thai side of the river, where the main town is located 3 kilometers from the river. Many Thais cross the river every day to work in Malaysia and return after work, while Malaysians cross to the other side to meet the family and friends, to shop and to spend the holiday. The bridging of major rivers in Peninsular Malaysia means that the river ferry that used to ply between the banks of the rivers disappeared except in here. To understand how the ferry between Pangkalan Kubo and Tak Bai is still in operation while the other river ferries services across the peninsula was terminated, we need to look into the history of both river banks back to the early 20th century. In the late 19th century, both of the sides of Golok River were under Kelantan state. The border between Kelantan and the neighbouring province Rangye was nearby Bang Nara River. At that time, Kelantan was a vassal state of Siam. If you want to know more about the complicated historical political structure of pre-modern Siam, you can watch this video about Prachuap Khiri Khan. Long story. In 1909, Anglo-Siamese Treaty has been signed by British and Siamese governments to confirm the border between British Malaya and Siam. As British colonised Kelantan and other 3 northern Malay states previously under Siamese vassalage, British dropped the claim of Patani and Satun. British allowed the Sultan to remain on the throne in Kelantan, albeit with minimal power. Compare that with the abolishment of Sultanate of Patani and Kingdom of Setul, when the local Malay rulers were replaced by centrally appointed governors. According to 1909 treaty, British financed the construction of railway between Bangkok to Padang Besar and Sungai Golok. Railway bridge between Sungai Golok Town and Rantau Panjang was opened in 1921, connecting Thai railway network with the Malayan rail network. I talked about the Thailand Southern Railway in the previous video where I travelled from Bangkok to Sungai Golok by rail back in 2023, 1,200 kilometers rail journey. To watch this video, you can click the link available up here. The movement of people between the border was regulated with the signage of exchange of notes between Thailand and certain Malay states regarding frontier traffic to facilitate crossing by residents 1940, which permits the issuance of border pass to travel not exceeding 25 kilometers or 15 miles from the border until 2014 when the new agreement was signed. One of the main reasons of why there is no bridge despite the high number of pedestrian and vehicle crossing the border is due to the insurgencies that hit southern Thailand. Thus, we need to understand the historical background of the unrested provinces. Narathiwat is one of the 3 southern border provinces with Muslim majority population that is Malay by ethnicity together with Yala and Patani. The people living along the banks of Golok River has commonalities among each other, the ethnicity, the religion, the food, even the dialects. The dialect used in Kelantan state and 3 southern provinces of Thailand is similar to each other and different than the official Malay spoken in the rest of Malaysia. Siam and later Thailand enforced the Edict of Arattaniom between 1939 until 1942. The first edict in 1939 changed the name of the country from Siam to Thailand. The edicts pursue the Thaification to unify the country in the midst of the war and the spread of communism, together to prevent the regionalism and separatism. However, the edicts caused the instability in southern Thailand, where the Muslims and Buddhists living side by side relatively peaceful for centuries. Malays refuse to assimilate as many of the Thai cultural practices are tightly related to Buddhism, which is blasphemous acts among Malay Muslims. The most notable rebellion against the Thai assimilation is led by Haji Sulong, who was mysteriously disappeared after being summoned to a police station in 1954. Despite the tensions in southern Thailand, people crossed the border easily both legally and illegally in the most of the late 20th century. All that changed in the year 2004, about 3 kilometers from the border, Malaysia-Thailand border, an event that shocked the world. On 25th of November 2004, during Ramadan's scorching hot day, about 1,200 local people gathered in front of Tak Bai police station to protest against the arrest of 5 locals. The security personnel responded by rounded up the men, stripped and prone under the midday sun. With handcuffs and naked, the arrested men were forced to crawl to the army trucks waiting at a distance, accompanied by beatings and kicks. And the arrested men later were piled up like logs in the military truck above each other. Bear in mind, Muslims are not eating or drinking anything throughout the day. The combination of fatigue, wounds and pressure due to piling caused at least 78 people died after the trucks reaching the detention camp 150 kilometers away from Tak Bai. The event later known as Tak Bai Incident or Tak Bai Massacre. Just to give an idea, I visited Tak Bai during Ramadan and the day is scorching hot with the temperature of 35 degrees Celsius. The brutality is unimaginable. The relatives of the Tak Bai massacre victims are still awaiting the justice after almost 20 years and they are racing against time. After 25 October 2024, the 20-year limit of statute of limitation will make any further legal action impossible. The incident caused more attacks against Thai military and police, which in turn caused more arrests of the local Muslims who were suspiciously collaborated with the separatists. Fighting fire with fuel makes the fire burns more. Because of the increasing attacks, curfew is enforced and increasingly tight checkpoints are set up across the southern border provinces. Thus, less Malaysians enter Thailand via Narathiwat unless absolute necessity or to meet the family and relatives. The previous lax rule of entering the duty-free zones across the border with just showing an ID were withdrawn. The last border market that the Malaysians were allowed to enter Thailand and vice versa with just an ID is in Wang Kelian Perlis. The reason is not because of the insurgency, since Wang Kelian Perlis border with Muslim majority province of Satun, which is not one of the 3 southern border provinces, but the discovery of mass graves of Rohingya immigrants near the town caused by human trafficking. After 2004 in southern provinces and 2015 in Wang Kelian Wang Prachan border posts, the movement between Malaysia and Thailand are restricted to just passport and border pass holders. The visitors need to fill up the arrival and departure card, the white card, which is a time-consuming and tedious formalities. Therefore, some resorted to cross the border illegally by boats waiting at the unregistered piers along the Golok River banks. It is faster, less hassle, and the fare is just the same as the legal way. When I walked near the pier, some of the boat operators hailed to me if I want to cross back to Malaysia. I politely declined. Of course, crossing the border illegally will be faster and less hassle than the legal way, but there will be no immigration stamps that makes the passport more valuable and trip more memorable. Trip collection. Due to uncertainty as the emergencies kept renewed every 3 months since 2005, businesses and tourists are moving elsewhere that is relatively safer. Hadiai became the hotspot tourist destination for the foreign tourists, Malaysians, that visited the city to enjoy the Thai food, the nightlife and to sightsee. As Hadiai is located outside the 3 southern border provinces, the city is relatively safer, although there were attacks as recent as December 2022. Other than Hadiai, tourists are flocking to Betong Yala, where the town is connected to the rest of Thailand via a single road, Highway 410. This single road makes Betong relatively insulated from the rest of the unrestive areas. The single entry and exit makes the insurgent attacks less likely to happen, although there were bomb attacks in the past, but today, Betong is safe to visit. As tourists move away to Hadiyai and Betong, the tourism and cross-border trading at Tak Bai suffered. I visited Tak Bai on Ramadan last April 2024 to buy some food for iftar or breaking the fast. Even with the river is just 200 meter wide, the food in the Thai side is differ from the Malaysian side. In fact, it is common for Malaysians to buy the food from Thai side and return after shopping. A lot of shops are closed or no longer business, or perhaps they moved to another border town like Sungai Golok, or I just came on a wrong day. The town might be livelier on weekends, which is Friday and Saturday in Kelantan, when Malaysians cross the river to shop. Did you know that both Thai baht and Malaysian ringgit are accepted in shops and stalls in Tak Bai? Both. There are locally made food, snacks, groceries, and even the oversized soda bottles. Comment down below, how much is the price of a big soft drink? You can guess in ringgit or in baht, Thai baht or US dollar, whatever. How much is the price? And hey, it is the subsidized Malaysian product. Let's go to Fami World Food and try some of the foods Thailand has to offer. The first food is Pati Crispy Pie Erat Konjit. Pati Crispy Pie. The second food is Eurotrapimon Kanom Cereal Rat Chocolate Side Cream Chocolate cereal filled with cream. This one tastes better. After 4 years of doing YouTube, finally I got a sponsor. Not a product sponsor, but sponsor energy drink. It tastes like a Red Bull without sugar because sponsor has no sugar. There are other foods I bought in Tak Bai such as spring roll and martabak. Martabak is so delicious, I forgot to review it before I munch it. Bridge is more favorable than ferry as the ferry is slow, has limited capacity and tonnage and often not operated at night. Furthermore, ferry ride is not free. One by one, the river ferries across the peninsula were replaced by more expensive but more reliable and permanently available bridges. In Kelantan, Sultan Yahya Petra Bridge linking Kota Baru to Pasir Pekan was opened in 1965, replacing the ferry, while Pasir Mas Salo Bridge was opened in 1991. Other states in Peninsula have built the bridges to replace the river ferry. In Pahang, a bridge was built across Pahang River at Temeloh in 1961 but was destroyed by a flood in 1971 and replaced by a new bridge in 1974. Upstream of Pahang River is Jerantut Ferry, where there was a ferry service that was operated until 1978 when a bridge was opened and replaced the ferry. The village name Jerantut Ferry remained unchanged until today. On Melaka Negeri Sembilan border, a bridge was built crossing Kuala Linggi, opened in 1990 to replace the boats. In 1980, bridges were built across Selangor River and Bernam River, which becomes part of Federal Route 5. In 1988, Sultan Yusuf Bridge was built crossing Perak River to replace the privately owned ferry. Bernam River Bridge and Perak River Bridge are today part of both Federal Route 5 and West Coast Expressway. I talked about the West Coast Expressway in the previous video, where a part of the expressway is just an upgraded section of the existing route. If you want to know more about this, want to know why, the link to watch is up here. Despite a bridge cost tens of millions of ringgit to build, the high cost is justified by increasing economic activities, better access to public services such as school and hospital, and its availability 24 hours a day and 7 days a week. Bridge often has lower maintenance costs than ferry as it need only periodical technical check and no fuel needed. On the Borneo side, Sabah and Sarawak have built more bridges as the benefit outweigh the tremendous cost of construction. Sarawak Coastal Road is a segmented coastal road that linked by river ferries that will be replaced by the new bridges. Bridges are built crossing Batang Rambungan, Batang Lupa at Teris, Batang Saribas at Peladin, Batang Paloh and Muara Lasa to link the mainland with Bruit Island and Kuala Kemena in Bintulu. On the Thai side, there are several river ferries that are still in operation throughout the country, such as Pa Pradang Ferry in southern Bangkok and Atlet Songkla between Songkla City and Singanakon. There are ferries crossing the border to Laos such as at Bak, but 4 bridges spanning the Mekong River has replaced the vehicular ferries previously operated in its vicinity. If you don't have passport to cross the border, there is another river ferry that is still on operation in Kelantan. There is a ferry at Kampung Pasir Kelang, Kuala Krai, connecting the villages on the west bank of Kelantan River with Kuala Krai town on the east bank. The ferry is operated by the local cooperative and not under the purview of Public Works Department. A bridge was planned to replace the ferry as a permanent link between the villages and Kuala Krai, but the bridge construction has been delayed a few years ago. Nevertheless, the ferry will eventually phase out a few years from now. How do we know that the ferry between Pangkalan Kubo and Tak Bai is the last or will be the last? Because the JKR ferry, the official public ferry service in Peninsular Malaysia, only listed Pangkalan Kubo at its terminal, the one and only. Southern Thailand is relatively calmer than what happened 20 years ago, despite that the emergency is still enforced in 3 southern border provinces. Roadblocks, ID check, military checkpoints, still there. Most vehicles between Malaysia and Thailand prefer to use the bridge between Sungai Golok Town and Rantau Panjang as there is no need to wait for the ferry. On August 2024, a new Golok River Bridge will be built next to the old road bridge to increase the capacity of vehicles crossing the road between Sungai Golok Town and Rantau Panjang. Because the main road in Thailand is always 4 lanes. Big. However, the plan to build a bridge near Pangkalan Kubo is still on the future planning. According to the Master Plan Draft 2035 for Tumpat, a new bridge is planned to connect the end of East Coast Expressway Phase 3 and a new road on the Thai side. Where is the East Coast Expressway Phase 3? You can watch this video to understand more. To understand the case. Malaysian ferry is aging and no longer in operation, making the cross-border trips rely on Thai-operated ferry. By the end of 2024, a new Malaysian ferry will arrive and serve the border towns Pangkalan Kubo and Tak Bai, no bridge still. In conclusion, the combination of border crossing, wide river delta, insurgencies at the 3 southern provinces, existing bridges further upstream, and non-existent East Coast Expressway Phase 3 makes the bridge at Golok River Delta still far from realization. Makes this ferry between Pangkalan Kubo and Tak Bai the last of its kind in Peninsular Malaysia. If you want to ride the ferry between Pangkalan Kubo and Tak Bai, the ferry operated between 6 AM and 7 PM Malaysia time every day. Thailand time is -1 hour. The ferry could carry pedestrians, cars and heavy vehicles, but the view outside is better than in the pedestrian waiting room. As in 2024, the fare is 3 ringgit or 10 baht for the pedestrian, 20 baht for the motorcycle and 80 baht for the car. Other than the ferry, there are boat services for the pedestrian between Pangkalan Kubo and Tak Bai. The fare is 15 baht or 3 ringgit. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something new about this unique border crossing as the last river ferry in Peninsular Malaysia. Thank you so much for watching again and see you in the next video.